Maybe Tuesday anywhere else, but in the U.S. Capitol, it is on this Fat Tuesday, the very first State of the Union address by President Joe Biden. And no matter where you find yourself on the side of the aisle, the stakes are high for the president tonight as the U.S. has a lot on its plate. Joining us right now for a bit of a preview of tonight, Louisiana Representative Congressman Garret Graves. Congressman Graves, thank you for taking some time with us today. What do you expect to hear from the president, or what do you hope to hear?
Well, look, I think that the president is certainly going to have front and center what's going on in the Ukraine. This is Vladimir Putin's challenge to freedom, not just over in Russia and in Ukraine, but also all across the world. I think you have countries like China, Iran, North Korea that are watching closely what's going on. And so I think that a lot of the talk is going to be about that. And of course, at home, this does impact us because we're all paying higher energy prices because of what's happening in the Ukraine. So I think that he's probably going to talk about that a good bit. Now, what we'd like to hear, I'd like to hear in addition to an aid package that we offer to Ukraine, that we offer an aid package to people right at home that have been impacted by Hurricanes Laura, Delta, Zeta, and Ida. I'd love to hear him talk a little bit more about infrastructure, what we're going to do to make sure that with inflation, with worker shortages, with supply chain issues, how we're going to be able to actually deliver on infrastructure and not just see the dollars squandered or eaten up by all of these challenges that are happening nationally. And lastly, I really would like to see him talk about security, talking about how we need energy independence and security, we need border security, we need protection from crime and safe neighborhoods, and we need financial and economic security. So those are the things that we'd really like to hear tonight.
Do you think it's possible that with the situation in Ukraine that might overshadow some of the bigger issues here at home?
I do think that the Ukraine situation is certainly going to take up a lot of time. I think it's going to be one of the primary issues that the president talks about tonight. As much as we would like to consider this something that is not affecting Louisiana, this very much affects Louisiana, a major energy producing state. It affects everyone in Louisiana because of the higher gasoline prices. On average, Americans are paying about $12 more every single time they fill up their pump, their car at the pump, and Americans across the board are spending anywhere from $700 to $1,700 in higher energy prices as a result of the spikes that we've seen. So I do think that's going to be a front and center issue, but certainly there are a lot of things at home that we need to be talking about, need to be prioritizing, and need to be solving.
Well, Congressman Graves, obviously after the president speaks, we will hear a response from the Republican Party. Can you give us any kind of indication of what we might hear then?
Well, I think that the response, and obviously we have to wait and see what the president says, but I think you're going to hear some very powerful reactions from folks like Congresswoman Victoria Sparks of Indiana, who actually was born in Ukraine and just has family there and has been giving us inside information on a daily basis. I think the response is going to talk about America's energy independence, going from this American energy independence that we were able to achieve back in 2019 and 2020, the first time since the 1950s, to putting a strategy in place that will truly get us there using all of the above energy sources. So yes, oil and gas, but also things like nuclear, renewable energy sources. All of that has to be part of the equation moving forward. And then I think you're going to hear a lot of talk about just kind of frustration by the impact of policies on just the average person in the United States with the inflation that's been skyrocketing, the supply chain issues, and people even having trouble getting back into the workforce in some cases. I expect that you're probably going to hear some themes along those lines.
All right, Congressman Garret Graves with us tonight. Thank you for your insight. Of course, you can watch CBS's full coverage of the State of the Union address starting at 8 o'clock tonight, and we'll have more for you coming up tonight on 9 News at 10.